Well, it was just a preseason game, but the Golden State Warriors brought out a lot of the reserves, their youngsters, some of their new players, and man, did they impress. Kevon Danna, the voice of the Santa Cruz Warriors. If you're watching on YouTube, it's borderline pornography. He's shirtless. Stop playing with your nipples, Kevin. Oh, don't do that. Come on, man. I'm just kidding. This obviously like a huge audience is a podcast. Kevin is being decent, but he's going to break down the Golden State Warriors with me. Oh, yeah, we got a little Draymond Green news as well. We'll drop on you. All the action is next. This is Locked On Warriors.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code Locked On. Again, you deposit $100, they'll give you $100. That's PrizePicks.com. Use the promo code Locked On. Again, you can follow Kevon Danna on Twitter at Kevo408, the voice of the Santa Cruz Warriors, sometimes the Golden State Warriors, sometimes some incredible exhibition action between certain French teams and G League teams involving the future of the NBA. I love you are the voice of that. That second matchup on ESPN2. And folks, you can follow me on Twitter at DogSurfRoadshow. Kevin, you're in Hawaii, man. I sincerely thank you for taking time out to join the program. I gave you an out, dude. I feel awful bothering you, but I really do thank you for coming on. I want to ask your feedback on this. It's a subject that's still in the news, but we got to eventually move on. So I want to start weaning off this Draymond Green, Jordan Poole topic. Unless new stuff comes in, it's just going to be beating a dead horse soon. But I haven't asked you yet about your reaction to the video itself, Draymond Green. And just to let people know, Steve Kerr last night in the postgame press conference announced that Draymond Green will not be suspended. He's going to be fined an undisclosed amount. We should expect to see him in Friday's game. That was not announced, but I have a guess he'll probably play just to get a warm-up in. It's one of the last preseason games. Maybe it's the last preseason game. And he will be available for ring night on Tuesday. Your thoughts on all of this stuff, Kevin?
Yeah, well, first off, before I answer your question, if me not wearing a shirt offends anyone, I will show you where I'm at right now. I'm by the pool, yeah. So hopefully, yeah. But I'll try to keep it from my shoulders up. But anyways, yeah, I mean, that Draymond Green, Jordan Poole situation, like, I know that, punches happen in NBA practices. I haven't been to any NBA practices from, an inside, beyond what the media sees. I've been to 700 or 800 college/G League practices that would be not open to the media.
Right.
I've seen a couple of fights, and they hadn't gotten to that level of a punch that we saw. But I'll take the words of the people who have been through the trenches more than I have, that those things do happen. I'm not excusing it away. Draymond knows what he did was wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tough situation, right? I don't know what the right punishment should be. I don't know. I mean, obviously the punch looks bad. It's a tough one.
It is.
I'll trust that the Warriors are making the best decision for the team. They obviously thought long and hard about this because the punch happened Wednesday, October 4th, or wait, no, was that Wednesday, October 5th? And it went 6 days before we kind of got a definitive when is Draymond Green returning to the team. So, they wrestled with this a lot.
Yes. Yeah.
And, I figure they've wrestled with it more than we have in the media, right? So I'm assuming they're making the best informed decision that they can make for all parties involved. And, yeah, hopefully for the Warriors that this is something that they can get past because as Steve Kerr mentioned it, this is the toughest thing that they've had to deal with, from an internal aspect, this goes beyond, as Steve Kerr mentioned, the Kevin Durant situation against the Clippers in November of 2018. I mean, that was just kind of a shouting match. This was an actual punch. So, like, Draymond's been able to come back from stuff like this before, and this is another thing he's going to have to come. After the punch, he's kind of done what he's needed to do to this point, and he said the right things, and saying the right things one thing, doing the right things the other thing, and he's going to have to do the right thing right now. I know a lot of people aren't happy that Draymond Green didn't get suspended, but that's the decision the Warriors make. I honestly don't really have much of an opinion one way or another. I know that sounds weird, but I really don't. I don't think it's weird at all. They're going to do.
I don't think it's weird at all, Kevin. I'm on the exact same path as you are, because there are two sides to this. One is that this is a fairly normal occurrence by professional sports standards. I guess it depends on the professional sport, but like of the major professional sports. And so while it's not an act that I don't think anyone is condoning, these are also like testosterone driven, adrenaline driven, the peak of peak athletes of the planet, going at it, full force. There's a lot of emotion involved, and sometimes in the heat of the moment things happen. But then you have the other side of the coin, which is this is an egregious act. What we saw in video was a bigger man just throwing a really hard, Mike Tyson-esque punch to Jordan Poole. And in a civilized society, how do you condone that? Yeah. I get both of it. And so I don't think it's weird to really not take a position on this, because it's tough, man. It's complex. I saw, so Rick Barry, I host a podcast with him, the Rick Barry Show, and then you've been a guest on that program a lot. Rick and I talked about this, I think, Monday night, and Rick was just flat out, was non-apologetically saying, get over it. He basically was like, look, like Draymond said the right things in his apology. And I do agree with that as well. I mean, I felt contrition. The part where he was saying he watched the video like 15 times and it just looked horrible each time. Yeah, we all feel the same way, Dre. And it's good that he's aware of that. There's a level of self-awareness there. So Rick is like, get over it. And then I saw this clip from Kenny Smith. And I'm going to read it verbatim. It says, quote, "That behavior is uncommon in normal society without question. However, that behavior happens a lot in sports because of the physicality, the adrenaline, and all those things. I thought it was going to be worse when I saw the video. I was like, oh, they just got into a scuffle. I won 2 championships with like 5 guys who fought." And again, he was part of the Hakeem Olajuwon Rockets teams of 94, 95. And he also says, look at the video again. Assistant coaches can jump in. They were like, this stuff is not crazy, unquote. So when I read that, and Vernon Maxwell's had stories of like Hakeem Olajuwon, like slapping him just right in the face, I think at halftime of a game or in a post game. And then Vernon Maxwell responds by grabbing a piece of sharded glass that he himself had broken and was going to straight cut him. There's been a lot of instances. I mean, I'm sure if we saw the video of Michael Jordan punching Steve Kerr, that would look pretty crazy. I'm sure if we saw the video of Shaquille O'Neal punching Kobe Bryant, that would probably look insane. We've seen the video of Kermit Washington cold cocking Rudy Tomjanovich in an NBA fight. That resulted in, I think, a 60-game suspension. But the point is, this stuff happens. It's not rare. And I see the conflict, but it's just at this point, what else is there to do? And of course, opening night really made things complex, because I think if opening night was not around the corner, he would have been suspended. Is that fair? I don't mean to take up so much time with you on the show, Kevin. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, no, yeah, it's definitely fair. Yeah, opening night, the fact that it's also ring night, probably, exactly. I mean, I don't know how much of a, like, if they're not coming off a title, does that change whether he gets suspended or not? I don't know. Yeah. But it would be one of those things. It'd be weird if, there's a guy on the Lakers who gets his championship ring that night, Juan Toscano-Anderson, and Draymond Green doesn't, right? I'd seen that mentioned somewhere. But, yeah, I mean, that's all kind of, I mean, It's really tough to say. I mean, because the fact of the matter is, like, it happened 13 days before the season started, and so
right, exactly.
As I had read, and whether it was Slater, someone in the Athletic, or Mercury News, someone mentioned, this is the time of the season where Steve Kerr likes to get really hard practices in, implement your system, and then this happened, and so it'll be interesting to see. Like, I mean, they've looked good in the preseason. They're 3-1. They're coming off a beat down of the Portland Trailblazers, who's had most of their starters in there, save for a couple of rotation pieces and GP2 and obviously Damian Lillard. But I mean, winning preseason games by 33 is one thing. Like, actually having your stuff in is another thing.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I will finish up the topic of Draymond and Jordan Poole in just a moment, because there's a few other things that Kerr said that we should cover before we talk about last night's game against the Blazers, which to me was damn impressive. I again, like you said, I know it's a preseason game. A couple players were missing from the Trailblazers, but a lot of players were missing from the Golden State Warriors. Those are mostly new free agent additions and very young first, second, third-year players out there, and they shined and then some. And I want to really get into that in just a moment. First, have to give some love to a longtime sponsor of this program, PrizePicks. I'm really stoked about PrizePicks. I really am, because I look, they gave a lot of the hosts, maybe all the hosts, I don't know how it broke down really, but we got like some free money to play with when PrizePicks first started and became a sponsor of Locked On. And I haven't had to put money in since. I've been accruing it little by little. I love the premise. I love how you play it. Kevin, I know you're not legally allowed to gamble because of your position as a play-by-play broadcaster for the Santa Cruz Warriors. What's up?
It's unfortunate.
But you should look into whether or not PrizePicks plays into this, because PrizePicks right now is legal in California. I would love to see it. I really think you might like it. I love it. It's super fun. The premise is you pick 2 to 5 players, and it's all about over-unders. Like, is Stephen Curry going to score over or under 23 points in a game? Is Klay Thompson going to hit 5 3-pointers in a game? Are you going to bet the over or under on that? You got to pick at least 2. And the more you pick, the more money you win. So you're just competing against yourself. It's super fun. And one of the best parts for me is that you can get the money back immediately. It's super easy to make entries, and it's super easy to make a fast withdrawal of your winnings. And if you download the PrizePicks app or go to prizepicks.com right now to sign up, you can get a 100% instant deposit match of up to $100 with a promo code Locked On. So in other words, if you put up to $100 in that bank account, they'll give you another $100. And if you can't afford $100, put in $50. They'll still match that $50, so you'll ultimately have $100. It's a great promo. Don't forget to enter the promo code Locked On at sign up for an instant deposit match of up to $100.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Warriors your first listen every day. Now for your second listen, go check out the Ultimate Pro Basketball Preview 2022, a 6-episode extravaganza to get you ready for the NBA season. The local team experts and the NBA insiders of the Locked On Podcast Network and Odyssey, all combining into one ultimate NBA preview. Search for Ultimate Pro NBA Preview 2022 on your Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow Kevin Danna on Twitter at Kevo408, where he's posting topless pictures of himself in Hawaii eating ice cream or pineapple delight, whatever it is you're munching.
It's an Oreo smoothie.
Oh my God, dude. I just want to end this show right now and go get one myself. Oh, that sounds so good. Okay. Anyways.
Oh, it is. Trust me.
We're talking Warriors here. I want to play this soundbite real quick from Steve Kerr's press conference last night. This was him discussing Draymond Green and Jordan Poole having a discussion between themselves in the last couple of days. And here's just what Kerr had to say.
Seem to intimate Draymond and Jordan have like come together for a conversation with you guys.
Yes.
was that maybe the biggest conversation within the last, I don't know, week or whatever?
And a lot of big ones, but
Yeah.
Jordan obviously had to be involved in this, and the players have been doing a lot of work behind the scenes. Steph has been working like crazy to try to figure out the best way to move forward. So he's been organizing some of these conversations. And Jordan and Draymond got together and had a great discussion that I think will help us move forward. And so after this entire week of everything and just assessing everything, this feels right.
And, there was a lot of information he unpacked there. Steph was involved in all this. Jordan Poole and Draymond Green communicated. Any takeaways for you from that sound clip?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I do want to mention, Cyrus.
Besides how good that shake is?
Yeah, I mean, I still got about half of it to go. But one thing I did want to mention that I didn't get to in my comments earlier is that, how mature does Jordan Poole look in all this, right? And maybe mature is not the right word, but just how much respect I have for him.
Yeah.
I mean, I already respect him a lot. I knew how hard of a worker he was. I knew how the shots that he was willing to take when he wasn't, the guy he is today showed me he's got that confidence to do what it takes. But what was it? An hour after he got clocked, he's getting up shots in the facility.
Correct.
He didn't miss a drill. Steve Kerr said, he didn't take a day off practice. He's just going about his business. And if Jordan Poole didn't have the demeanor he does, maybe Draymond Green does get suspended. Maybe. I don't again, I don't want to hypothesize here on, a situation that I wasn't around. For the record, also, I did not leak the video. I was in Vegas when it happened, so you can't point the finger at me. I just want to exonerate myself.
By the way, you know what's crazy? I don't know if people paid attention to this or not, because there is a distinct possibility that the leak came from the NBA, not the Warriors, right? But that's very unlikely. Given that originally there was a leak before the video, and the leak was, hey, Draymond Green punched Jordan Poole. We all knew about that. I guess that could have still come from the NBA. I don't know, but it seems likely it's in-house, man. And so good job exonerating yourself. Kevin Danna, not the leaker.
Not the leak. Jordan Poole, he seems, now we haven't heard from Jordan Poole. We don't know how he feels, but it does feel like he deserves some credit for this moving along, a lot of credit for it moving along as quote unquote smoothly as it can.
Yeah.
Right? The fact that, all right, Draymond's returning to the team on Thursday. He's going to play in the Friday preseason game, and he is set to play in the regular season opener. If there was a different kind of response from Jordan Poole, maybe it would have been tougher to do all that. And so, I do want to give Jordan Poole, props for what we know about the situation and how he has handled it professionally. I think he's been a true professional about it. Again, we don't know what he's saying behind the scenes. Maybe he's really pissed off. But outwardly and just seeing how he's gone about his business, the videos of practice that we've seen from reporters that have been taken. Obviously, that's one thing, and what happens behind closed doors is another thing.
Yeah.
But he's gone about his business, and props to Jordan for that.
Good call. And he scored 18 points in a quarter in his first game.
And exactly that too, and how good he looked. Now it's a preseason game, but how good he looked. He finished 25 in that game or something like that.
He did, correct. Yeah, I believe
so. That one move that may have been a travel, may have not been a travel, probably was a travel, but it looked cool.
It looked too good to be a travel.
Yeah, and it wasn't called a travel, so it must not be a travel.
Not a travel, correct? Yeah. Exactly. Somebody on Twitter and Kevo and I I'm sorry, I'm calling you by your Twitter handle.
That's fine.
We'll address comments and any questions you have. So, Shrick at Shrickbones, I don't know what that means, but at Shrickbones writes, I just want Kevo to rave blush about our young new prospects. Last night's game must have made Kevo very happy, but he also was requesting this sound clip to be played, which I'm going to play right now from Steve Kerr praising Kevon Looney. And look, Kevon Looney, it's so easy to forget how long he's been with his team, how integral of a part of a team he is. I mean, he was part of that 73-win season. He grabbed 22 rebounds in a conference series clinching game. He's amazing, and he just keeps getting better year after year. He's now doing what is called apparently yoga, which is some sort of some derivative of yoga, which he's attributing to being healthy and being the Iron Man. Anyways, here is Steve Kerr talking about the greatness that is Kevon Looney.
Steve, how critical was Kevon Looney in the decision-making process and the kind of leadership that you needed with Draymond not being in there?
Loon is incredible. This guy has so much wisdom. He's so quiet that if you don't pay attention, you may not realize that he has become the moral compass of our team. He's a special human being, special. And he was a key instrument in everything that we've had going the last week to try to, get things back on track. I'll ride with Loon forever. This is a special man.
He just is a good dude, right? I mean, your thoughts on Kevon Looney, man. I mean, you've seen him a lot more than me, and you've been up close with him a lot. You just give us your opinion on Warriors center Kevon Looney.
I'm just so happy for Kevon Looney because I've said this a few times. Like when he was a rookie, all the injury issues with the hips and just if it wasn't one thing, it was another thing. Like he played 5 regular season games. If you play 5 regular season games and you're the number 30 overall pick, you have like one more year in the league. He got that next year in the league. He was a little bit better, played a little bit more. But, there were still a lot of questions going into that 2017 Summer League. I think that was the year he didn't get his contract renewed. And so then, he wasn't – if I remember correctly, he wasn't fantastic in 2017 Summer League either. He might not have even played. I can't remember if he was just out in Vegas working out or not. But then, we started to see it in 2017-18. And, it was a slow burn with this guy who had to, completely reorient his game, right? He was like a point guard in high school.
Correct.
He's anything but a point guard right now.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to see him develop the way he is because if you just look at his stats on a Real GM or Basketball Reference through his first 2 or 3 years, you're like, this guy is going to be out of the league next year. And the fact that not only is he not out of the league, but he is a foundational piece of this part of the dynasty. I don't think there's any other way around it. The Warriors don't win the 2022 NBA title without him, and they don't get past the Houston Rockets in 2019 without him either, with the defense he played on the perimeter. And so he has come through in the clutch time after time after time, and I'm just so happy to see him be able to do this because his injury troubles early in his career, and there were a lot of them, even in the 2019-20 season, even after he had proven himself and gotten that first 3-year deal, then he had the digestive issues that really messed with him. In 2019-20, it wasn't looking good for him. And then kind of the end of the 2021 season. And then last year, playing all 82 and then the playoffs he had, it's awesome to see.
And what was particularly impressive, I know it's been mentioned before, but he played all 82 games in a COVID year. There was still a lot of people missing games because of COVID and did not phase him, man. I don't know if he just didn't get it or whatever. He just played all 82.
Great point. Kevon Looney, must have incredible antibodies in his body, right? That guy didn't get COVID once during the COVID year. I can't remember if he got COVID the year before, but he didn't get COVID last year when everyone was getting COVID.
Yeah, exactly.
So obviously we know he's vaccinated because otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to play last year for half the games or whatever. So,
right.
Get your shots, folks. There's that new bivalent
man. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah,
I got to do that. Let's shift gears to last night's game because, again, it's just a preseason game. I look into preseason games a little more than I think some do, just because I do think the younger players are trying. I think they're putting the effort in that they would in a regular season game. And then the newbies, like the free agent acquisitions, they're trying to be integrated into the system and be prepared for the start of the season. So they're trying hard. And then last night's game, the Warriors played at Chase Center. They were playing the Portland Trail Blazers. The Blazers were sitting out Dame Lillard. I don't know why. I'm guessing just to rest him. No point in pushing him. I imagine he's going to be ready to go opening night. I think Gary Payton II is battling some sort of injury, if I'm not mistaken. But the Warriors sat out a bunch of people. I mean, Andrew Wiggins didn't play. Looney, Steph, Clay, the Poole Party. Iguodala, who's probably not going to be ready for opening night, but it doesn't matter. He's much more of a Udonis Haslem than anything now, and that's okay. I can't emphasize enough the importance of Iguodala now, given the Draymond Green incident. Like, I don't know how the Warriors navigate this without him being on the team. So that was huge. That was absolutely huge happening back, and I don't think it matters that much that he's not going to be playing. But regardless, the Warriors just did not have a full roster. So you saw, you saw Anthony Lamb playing 17 minutes. Patrick Baldwin Jr. played 22. You had what is he from New Zealand? Pat Spencer? Maybe he's American, but he's a player.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Yeah, he was the number 1 pick in the Pro Lacrosse League draft.
Okay,
so decided to play college basketball.
Oh, there you go. Okay,
for a year.
So he's American. Okay, but so Pat Spencer was playing 22 minutes. My point is the Warriors were rolling out a lot of people that we don't know if they're NBA caliber. We really don't at this point. And they thumped the Portland Trail Blazers. The Trail Blazers, again, they had players like Jeremy Grant out there, a former All-Star. Nurkic was playing center. This is a guy getting paid handsomely as a quote-unquote premier NBA big. Josh Hart was out there, a solid NBA veteran. Anthony Simons, I know he's young, but he's still, he's just got a contract extension. He's been in the league for a few years now. And despite that, the Warriors schooled him. And I just want to quickly highlight real quick what stood out more than anything else. For starters, Jonathan Kuminga did not have like the fancy statistical night hit, but he led all players with a plus minus of 31. 31. I don't know if I've ever seen that. That's staggering to me. In 24 minutes of play, JaMychal Green had a monster game. He went 4 for 5 from 3, scored 20 points, added 8 rebounds, plus minus of 25. And then James Wiseman, who's really starting to look like the number 2 pick in the draft 3 years ago, 18 points, 7 rebounds, plus 26. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Moody also had 20 points. DiVinchenzo, not a big scoring night, but still looks solid out there running the point. Your feedback and thoughts on last night's game, which, again, really impressed me. And by the way, the final score was 131-98. Oh, I'm giddy. Your thoughts?
Well, the first thing when I think about the Portland Trail Blazers is Bob Fitzgerald saying 62, because that's when Steph got 62 against the Portland Trail Blazers.
Great impersonation.
Great impersonation. I thought Bob nailed that call. Anyways, and then someone I think Kareth Burke brought it up again when Aaron Judge hit his 62nd home run, 62. Thinking about the Bob Fitzgerald call of Steph getting 62. And there's a lot of players I want to touch on here. First, because I don't know what the future holds for Anthony Lamb. I feel like I got to mention this because not everyone watched the Canton Charge in the G League bubble in 2021. Okay. He couldn't get off you and 300 million of your closest friends in America. But he couldn't get off the bench. I might have this backwards, but I think it was on Canton where he could not get off the bench. The kid played 5 minutes a game. He gets traded because I think the Cavaliers wanted Broderick Thomas on a two-way. He gets traded to the RGV Vipers and, like, turns into an animal. He went from, like, being the 12th man on a G League roster to getting a two-way contract in the span of, like, 10 days. One of the craziest, like, turnarounds I've seen. He's a good shooting big. I enjoy him. I mean, hey, if he wants to play for the Santa Cruz Warriors this year, you don't need to convince me.
Right.
Big Anthony Lamb of the G League guy, worthy of someone who could be a two-way contractee or a 15th man somewhere in the NBA. He's a Vermont Catamount as well for all you Catamount fans out there. I mean, they probably won some fans over when they upset Syracuse in the NCAA tournament back. I guess that was 2005. I guess that was 17 years ago.
Right.
I was pissed because I was a Syracuse fan growing up. I'm like, what the hell are these Catamounts? I think it was like a 13-4 upset or something like that. Number two, if I may talk while chewing.
That is the Oreo shake. Is that what you're munching on?
Nah, I finished that. I got a cheeseburger and fries.
Oh
right
my
here.
God!
Yeah.
You're living,
be jealous,
man.
Cyrus. Be jealous. But all right, so Pat Spencer, like I mentioned, this guy is like one of the best college lacrosse players, like, in the history of the sport. I mean, maybe he's not Jim Brown good, but, like, I didn't see Jim Brown play. I also didn't see Pat Spencer play lacrosse, to be perfectly honest. But he was like the Tewaaraton Award winner, which is the Heisman Trophy for lacrosse. The Herman Trophy in soccer, it's the Tewaaraton Award. The Wooden Award in basketball.
I'd never heard of that, and I don't think many people know this, and yourself included. I played college lacrosse for a year.
Really?
I played for the Humboldt State Lumberjacks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was a midfielder. They call those middies. I certainly know how to curl the basket, everything, man. Yeah, but I'm not very good. So anyways, proceed. I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta be pretty good if you play Division II lacrosse, like.
It was in Division II. It was not that good. I'm sorry. I'm not bragging.
Anyways, Cyrus.
Yes.
No, I'm just messing around. But, so the story with Pat Spencer was, instead of turning pro in lacrosse, he decided to play basketball for 1 year as a grad transfer at Northwestern. He played at Loyola Maryland lacrosse, averaged like 10 a game. Got him tried out for a G League team last year, the Capital City Go-Go, made the roster, was a rotation player. Now he's Anthony Slater said in his article, he is a contender for a two-way spot.
He's good.
He's a good player. He's a good player.
I've
always thought he was a solid dude.
Agreed.
So, yeah, no, really interesting with him. Who do I want to talk about next? Yeah, Dante DiVincenzo, 10 assists last night. Not bad, right? He's not necessarily, I kind of think of him more as the guy who scored 31 in the NCAA championship game for Villanova. But, right. I mean, to be able to, come into that system and give you 10 assists in a spot start at PG, pretty good. And, I mean, his shooting it started to come around a little bit at the end of last year. Imagine it will continue to, because he's been coming off a lot of injuries that initially suffered in the first round of the 2021 playoffs, part of that champion Milwaukee Bucks team, who he was a big part of until he got injured. Been a big fan of that signing. JaMychal Green, I've seen people say he's kind of going to fill the Otto Porter role. He's a different player than Otto Porter for sure, but I think he could put up similar stats to Otto Porter. If we're thinking like a guy who can give you 8 and 5, I think that's kind of what JaMychal Green could provide this team this year. And I am super looking forward to, having anybody who's played a significant amount of time in the G League, I'm a fan of. And JaMychal Green roasted the Santa Cruz Warriors a couple of times right before he got called up for the first time. It hasn't looked back since. Probably one of his last ever G League games is against Santa Cruz. And he had 27 and 14 or something like that against them.
Nice.
And then to James Wiseman. So Kevon Looney is why you don't judge bigs early in their career. Now, he had a lot of injury troubles, as did James Wiseman. All is not lost because he didn't play last year. Kevon Looney played 5 games his rookie year. Joel Embiid didn't play his first 2 seasons in the league.
Right.
And so, it does not shock me that James Wiseman looks a lot wiser out there, that he's making quicker decisions. I know, right? Terrible joke. I'll try to not make it again. But, like, yeah, it does not shock me that he's making better reads now that he's had basically 18 months to digest the pro game since getting injured. So, I mean, we saw him 3 times in a Santa Cruz uniform, I think 4 games in Summer League this year. So we've seen him like 7 times in sub-NBA regular season basketball, and then a couple more times in the preseason. Like, I am not shocked that he is performing as well as he is. Like, the guy was, like, considered the number 1 pick most of, until Anthony Edwards, like, kind of burst on the scene. James Wiseman was the guy in that class. And so, this shouldn't come as a shock to people. And I think this is only just the natural progression for a guy who has the talent and, the want to that James Wiseman has, that he's shown to be a good hard worker with this team. He's shown a willingness to learn from the vets. He's shown a willingness to put the time in and have a positive attitude, even when he can't be out there. And it's nice to finally see him, get this is the most serious burn he's gotten. This is the closest thing to NBA regular season action he's gotten since April of 2021. And I can't wait to just see him get back out on a regular season court. It takes time with most big men. That's just the way it is.
Absolutely, man. And I wish I had the rim shot queued up when you made that joke, so I just go. But yeah, I didn't. It's too late. And by the way, I just want to give you props again for your call. For people unfamiliar, you were handling the play-by-play duties last week on ESPN2 for the second of 2 games between Victor Wembanyama's French club. I have no idea what the team's name is. And then Scoot Henderson's G League Unite team. I hope I got that right. Or Ignite. I'm sorry.
Ignite.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Did I say Unite? Yeah, Ignite. Great call, man. I always, to me, and I've told Kylan this as well, because she does some soccer broadcasting. Like, I always know when someone's really good if I turn it on and don't recognize them, and I have to actually be informed or be aware of who the broadcaster is. And like, when I hear you do play-by-play, I have no idea it's you. Like, I have no clue, man. Like, you definitely flip this other script or flip this other switch, and you're just rolling. And kudos, man. You did phenomenal. Congrats.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I encourage everyone to watch back that broadcast so they can hear me say Vincent Wembanyama at the top of it. It's the most embarrassing moment of my broadcasting career. I can't believe I said that.
You are probably the only person who remembers that, so don't worry, man.
Oh, no, I heard a little bit on Twitter. The people on Twitter were nice. I didn't get roasted, but yeah, a couple people mentioned it. It's like, it's a random slip of the tongue. It just came up at a bad time, but it's been 6 days. I'm still like trying to forgive myself from it. It's okay. Bad. Like, I mean, like, Cyrus, would you call him Corey Bryant, or would you call him, Malcolm Jordan, or would you call him LaDon James? You wouldn't call him Vincent Wembanyama.
That's not a fair analogy. You gotta compare it to another really difficult name, because even though you nailed the last name, maybe that threw you off. You were so focused on the Wembanyama that you just forgot that.
No, I wasn't focused. Like, I've done thousands of broadcasts, probably. Like, when I said Vincent, I'm like, that doesn't sound right, but I didn't catch it for like another 30 seconds. It's just one of those random slip ups. Like, but it's like, I never get names wrong. And so it just happened to be like maybe a future top 10 greatest player ever whose name I messed up. So, overall, like, the broadcast I thought went pretty well, if I could forgive myself for the open for one segment. Luckily, that was the only time I said his name wrong, but it's still pretty embarrassing. So yeah, you should watch me say Vincent Wembanyama. Go back and watch the broadcast.
Forgive yourself, please, man, and go enjoy Hawaii. I'm so jealous, man. It looks like you're in a cabana.
Oh yeah.
Bravo, dude. Bravo. You are LIVIN, man. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Kevin. You can follow Kevin Danna again on Twitter at Kevo408. And we'll be back tomorrow at it. Brian Murphy joins the show. We'll be talking some more Warriors. Thanks, everyone. Later.